Just a heads up, if you have littles in the car, today I am talking about Santa. You feeling me? You picking up what I'm putting down? So, hey there, I'm Tabitha Filan, and I am thinking about Christmas because while you see these videos a week, sometimes 2 weeks after I've filmed them, I'm like, we are quickly approaching Christmas break. We've already decorated our house. And this morning, a friend texted me and she was telling me about their elf on the shelf. And she asked me if, if anyone in my house still believed. And, I was like, no, last year was the last year for that. So, it got me thinking about Christmas magic and Santa and all of those things. And I realized it before now, but I think I'm just vocalizing it now. I have real regrets about introducing Santa to our home. When I was growing up, I grew up with Santa, and my husband grew up with Santa too. I don't know how long. That's weird. We've been married 21 years and I've never asked him how long he believed. That would be a good conversation to have with him just to find out, Anyway, so I was in middle school, I guess, 6th grade maybe, when I found out. But it was not anything my mother ever admitted. Like, to this day, she will tell you she believes in Santa Claus. And she would always say, well, the moment you stop believing is the moment your parents have to take over. And this isn't a diss on my mom. I think it's awesome the way she handled it. I had just decided, though, because of some questions I had growing up, that I needed to handle the Santa situation differently. Now, what do I mean by situations, thoughts that I had growing up? I actually can remember wondering if Santa was God. Because if you think about it, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. He can come into your house without a key. He's got these very similar characteristics to the true characteristics of God. And in my young mind, I got really confused. And so when I began to doubt that Santa was real, I also wondered if God was real. I'm not saying this is going to happen if you introduce Santa to your home. Every child is different. I'm just telling you my personal testimony, what I went through. So when my husband and I had our first child, I don't even remember us having a conversation about whether or not we were going to have Santa. We just did. He kind of goes along with whatever I say when it comes to parenting things. He's kind of neutral when it comes to any kind of decision in parenting. So it was probably more me than him. So we had our firstborn girl, who is Lyra, and we had Santa come. And it was just, after that, second nature. It was just something we did. And I remember seeing the elf on a shelf in the store several years before we actually purchased one. And it was just something that went along with Santa. Elf on a shelf. But if I could go back in time, I would have most definitely 110% told my younger self, do not buy that elf on the shelf. Don't. Because the whole magic thing, they're magical. They fly away to Santa. They see you if you're good or bad, and they report that to Santa. It's a manipulation thing. It's parents like me, because I did it, manipulating our kids to behave. And I think there's much better ways to encourage our children to make wise choices, to make good choices, than to tell them about Santa. I'm going to have to pause for a second and pull the car up because I got my camera in a weird place. Hang on. I'm so glad that I paused the camera, because if I hadn't, you would have gotten motion sick, my friend, because the camera fell and it was like under my legs, and it would not have been a good situation. Anyway, back to what I was saying. We don't like to think about manipulating our kids, but sometimes we do. And I don't think that's great. But the primary reason why I wish we had never done Elf on the Shelf, and I wonder if we might have harmed our kids by introducing Santa, is because I had those doubts and confusions, and I started blending God, the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny. It all got mixed up. There's another reason, though, that now that my children are teenagers, my youngest is about to be a teenager, and my oldest just turned 20. So this is 20 years of experience speaking here. Christmas is not as much about Jesus as I wish it was in our house. I'm just being honest. I look at them now and how they are so focused on creating Christmas wish lists and what are you going to give me? What am I going to get? Yes, if you ask them what's Christmas about, they're going to say Jesus. But is it though? We started several years ago doing nightly devotions in December. So I tried to incorporate Jesus into Christmas. That just sounds so wrong, incorporate Jesus into Christmas. It's literally Christmas. It's literally Jesusmas, But I'm just being transparent, okay? Please don't flame me. So we did the Jesse tree, which I highly recommend. Maybe I need to bring some ornaments and show you about that. If you haven't done that before, it traces the lineage of Jesus. Because if you don't know, the entire Bible is the story of Jesus. It's like everything's leading up to Jesus coming. Then Jesus comes and he lives and he dies for our sins. And then he resurrects from the dead. And he's gone to prepare a place for us. And the rest of the Bible is about how we can live to, model our lives to be like him. So it's like, it's all Jesus. And the Jesse tree is an amazing tool for keeping that focus on Jesus being the reason that we celebrate Christmas. So that's why, I know my children know that Christmas is about Jesus, and I know that they know the lineage, because we would read the devotion and put the ornaments on our little tree. We actually don't use a tree. We would go out and get a branch out of the yard every year. That was our tradition. But do they really? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And part of me wishes we had never done Santa and never bought that elf, because Lord knows it. So if you've been on the fence about the Elf on the Shelf, don't get it, because it confuses the kids about the nature of God, and it's also hard to keep coming up with original ideas of where to put the thing. I don't know where. It was just, I actually liked as my kids got older and learned that the elf wasn't real, because then I could be like, okay, it's your turn. Just totally give it to the older kids and let you do the elf this year. So, anyhow, I don't know if this is helpful to you or not. I was just kind of reminiscing and just trying to really focus myself that Jesus is the reason for the season. Without Jesus, there would be no Christmas. And it doesn't matter if I can put dozens of presents under the tree or if under the tree is completely empty. The reason for Christmas is still Jesus. And that's all my children need. They don't need Santa. They don't need an elf. They need Jesus. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on it. If you didn't have Santa, I would love to know how you handled that. And if you did and you found that you or your children or whatever, whoever was involved were confused at some point, like confused Santa and God, I would like to know that I'm not alone in that. So comment and let me know, okay? And I will see you tomorrow in the Carline.